putting rules on this, right? What's to say, I have like a paper cut. Am I injured? And it go all the way
was he limited
I'm
in
no longer
practice?
breathing. Think
Was he
about the
limited in
wiggle room.
practice? Was he
What's that?
limited in practice? Was he limited in practice, or did he miss a practice?
Define practice, dude. Define practice. Like how do you regulate this?
A team organized activity. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 11th Island. I'm Brad. That's Chris over there. Week 2 of the CFL is done now. Great week of football action. Chris, let's get into it. What are we starting with?
Yeah, it was the tale of the turnover when the BC Lions took on the Stampeders at home. Final score 15-9. What are you thinking, Brad?
I mean, low-scoring game when you got quarterbacks like Michael Riley and Bo Levi Mitchell, but somewhat surprisingly, Michael Riley starts the game and plays well after clearly being injured in week 1, and honestly still probably a little bit injured in week 2 here, but his arm looked good. And shockingly, Bo Levi Mitchell played like crap. He threw 4 interceptions, just never got it going. I mean, and it's not even like we can say here that the inexperienced wide receivers are causing this. A lot of the stuff was kind of on Bo Levi here. And now we're hearing that this week he might be out of next week because he's injured. We don't know the extent of the injury. It's kind of maybe he was injured in that game. That would explain some of his poor play. But, I mean, it's a tough start for Calgary here. A lot of people picked them to go far this year, and they're 0-2, especially both games at home, too. You can't be losing those home games.
Yeah, and I to speak to the injury, what I was looking at just now, because all the news is kind of starting to roll out, and I think the story the 2 articles I read kind of put together was that this was pretty, like, we're pretty sure that this happened during week 1 against the Argonauts. So he's coming into this game hurt. He said it wasn't this thing where he woke up the morning of the game and said, you know what, this injury, like, this was something that the team was just looking at the whole way through, where it's kind of like, oh, should we play? And then this week they're kind of saying, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And I think
so it's not even something that he like picked up in the first series or whatever. Like he was hurt going into the game. You're saying? Yeah,
he was hurt. He was hurt. Well, he was fine against the Argonauts. Hurt halfway through going into this week or now last week. He was playing hurt. He full knowledge. Everybody knew he was playing hurt, which is kind of, I mean, for Stampeders fans, you got a guy in Bo Levi Mitchell, 2-time outstanding player. He's just like the face of the team, and to see him play like that, to be able to say, you know what, he was hurt, and it's not bad enough that he can't go out and play, but he's going to take some time off. Maybe that's a little bit of hope coming out of that, where it was just he did not look too great out there.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Was he listed on the injury report coming into that game?
No, I don't think he was. I don't think he was.
See, this game right here is a perfect example of, I mean, this year we're getting legalized betting in Canada, single game betting, and the CFL is changing their injury rules in order to make it easier for the gamblers, where you have to disclose injuries, disclose depth chart starters, be transparent for the fans that are going to put money on the game. And this game here is the perfect example of why the CFL is going to ruin it before it even starts. I mean, you have Michael Riley, who all week was said to be backing up because clearly he was injured. They said Nathan Rourke was going to start 5 minutes before the game starts. Mike Riley's starting. I mean, you bet's already in. Bo Levi Mitchell, turns out he was actually hurt going into that game. We're just not going to talk about it. How many, I'm somebody who took the Stampeders in that game. How many people would have flipped their bets if you said Bo Levi's hurt, Michael Riley's starting? How many people flipped the bets from I'm actually going to take BC here? So you're ruining it before it even gets started.
Yeah, I mean, but try telling a coach, we got to think about the gamblers. We gotta make sure the gamblers know. Well, I don't want the other team to know what's going on, much less the gamblers. I don't care.
But but this isn't something that's new in football either. The NFL does this every single week. It's not new. It's not like some wild concept for these coaches.
Take a guy like Bo Levi Mitchell. You're gonna play him. If I was a coach, am I gonna let my star QB go out hurt if the other team knows that he's hurt? Like, do the math on that. There's
Seems the
still, I
NFL
mean,
do it every.
it's a silly thing to do. And
Yeah, but
what define injured? What is the because we're putting rules on this, right?
mhm.
What's to say? I have like a paper cut. Am I injured? And then go all the way
Is he
to
was he limited
I'm
in
no longer
practice?
breathing. Think
Was he
about the
limited in
wiggle room.
practice? Was he
What's that?
limited in practice? Was he limited in practice, or did he miss a practice?
Define practice, dude. Define practice. Like all the. How do you regulate this?
A team organized activity.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, like. So what? He's injured. Like what does it matter? If he goes out, if he's gonna go out, he's gonna go out. You can't just
But
go in and
yeah,
just know
but
everything.
as somebody, if you're putting money on the game, and if you're the CFL is smaller football league, you need the gamblers, especially coming off of COVID. You need them in this to survive as a league. And when you're putting money on it, a gambler wants to know all the details. I'm not saying I need to know the exact piece of his body, but if he's hurt, tell me he's hurt. Or if Michael Riley's starting, tell me he's starting. That's all I'm like. It's bare minimum stuff. Stuff that every other league in the world, every other major sports organization does. The NHL does it, the NFL does it, the NBA does it, MLB does it. The CFL has no excuse other than coaches just holding on to the old, outdated rules. That's their only excuse.
Yeah, this is the angle that they have. You're taking away a key angle from them in probably what is the most tumultuous season that they've ever coached in. So things are going to come up, Brad. Things are going to come up in a season where guys haven't played for a year. You're going to go out there and you're going to something's going to reactivate, something's going to happen, you're going to be hurt, but you're going to want to play. Stuff happens, who knows? Michael Riley, maybe something came up, maybe there was traffic and he showed up last minute. Like that, this stuff happens.
This is the difference take between somebody that gambles on games and somebody that doesn't.
Yeah, and you
Because
know what? From somebody that doesn't gamble and just actually just enjoys, it was nice to hear them talking about Nathan Rourke in the pregame show. It was exciting talking about a Canadian QB. We got a Canadian QB that could be a all the time starter. Who knows how this is shaking up. He's going out to start week 2, and we're talking about it. We get to talk about it. We get the excitement, and then boom, Michael Riley comes in. But it's who knows? This could be marketing. This could be marketing for the BC Lions. Like
yeah, it's not a good look for the league's new policies. I think if anything, it's a bad look. And that's my and that is an
well, the
opinion that
reality
is that's an
is
opinion that's shared with a lot
why
of
didn't they
people.
do anything about it? Why didn't they do it? This stuff happened week
What are you gonna
1.
do with it? What are you gonna do? See,
So what are
I
you
mean
gonna
that's
do?
the thing.
What's the point of these rules if they can't? We're past it now because people tested the waters. People pushed the line week 1. And then so nothing happened. So we're gonna do it again week 2. What's gonna happen
yes,
week
the
3? It's
league
gonna
has
happen
to do.
again.
The league's got to
It's
step in and do something. What did the league do in week 1? I said the same thing last week. I said you're ruining gambling before it even gets started in Canada, and they'd come out and do it again in week 2. The league didn't do anything. The league's got to stop slapping them on the wrist and levy some I'm not like some sort of penalty. It's probably
well,
gonna be financial.
we're getting close to the point where the ship leaves the harbor, Brad. Because like what are you gonna do now?
I mean, you got to figure out some penalty before. That's your in with, and I mean we're hammering this topic to death here, but that's your in for a lot of these people, especially if you want to get the American market, you get them gambling. You want to get Canadians that are on the fence, get that in there. You're ruining it before it even gets started. And the fact that this is like, I mean, if this is their number 1 wide receiver, that's not even a big deal. Any other position other than QB, we're not talking about it like this. But the most important position in all of sports, being the quarterback, and you're just making a mockery of this new rule.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We're gonna go to the Argos game, or people are gonna say, "Oh, it's the Argos game. It's the Bombers game," because the Bombers took it 20-7 at home. Brad, what was going through your little noggin during that game?
Winnipeg looks good. They're looking like the defending champs. I mean, which they are obviously, they're looking good. I mean, on Toronto too, yeah, McLeod Bethel Thompson coming out of week one, third down nation had them, or three down nation, sorry, had Bethel Thompson at number one on the MLP rankings. Like, I mean, obviously way in advance here, and now he's sitting on the bench. And I thought Nick Arbuckle, he didn't put up great stats. He had pretty comparable stats to Bethel Thompson, but he looked like it, visually, I was more comfortable seeing Arbuckle in the pocket than it was Bethel Thompson. And I think it's a situation Arbuckle's still coming off the injury. He's got to get those reps in. But coming into week three, I think, and then it's a rematch with the Bombers. I mean, it's a home and home here, and first game in Toronto, which we'll be at, super exciting. I think Arbuckle's got to start. I think Arbuckle was the guy that we thought was going to go in week one. Didn't because he was hurt. Cloud Bethel Thompson had a good game. Can't take that away from him. But I think it's time to give the reins to Arbuckle. Bethel Thompson looked real bad in the first half. But I mean, you got to give credit to Winnipeg here. They look good. The defense is rolling. The offense is rolling. They could put up some more points on offense for sure. But again, nobody's putting up points right now. Unders are hitting left, right, and center. I think Winnipeg looks like a force to be reckoned with. And I think Toronto, in an Eastern Conference that looks wide open, I think with Arbuckle starting, they can do some damage.
Yeah, and there was definitely, I mean, Arbuckle, as you said, the numbers, I mean, Macbeth and then Arbuckle, they both, if you take it, some of the parts, it's just like they evened out really, but there was definitely a shot of life when Arbuckle went out there. Really on that first drive, it was just, there was an excitement to it, it felt right, so next week I'd like to see at home, Arbuckle rolling out, John White looked really good. Running back, and if they can get that working, that side, it would take a lot of pressure off the passing game, and really open up a little bit more play call. I think the Argos, as you said, have a great chance now to really open up going home. With the East is wide open. I mean, the Alouettes are looking probably the top right now, and that's off one small sample size against the Elks. So we'll really have to see how the Alouettes shape up as a threat. I mean, Hamilton's going to be coming back. We'll touch on Hamilton later. They're definitely not out of it. They got a great team. They just got to work out some things. And I mean, Red Blacks, as we saw week one, live dog. So it'll be interesting to see how that East shakes up. And the more I watch and the more things settle in, the more I think the Argos really, if they can get a few things working, can squeak out a lot of wins.
Yeah, and I mean, you're in a situation with the 14-game season. Every game means just a little bit more than before, and like, because it's gonna fly by. And Argos go out west, start the season 2 away games back to back against tough teams, Calgary and Winnipeg. You come back 1-1. You can't be upset about that.
Now, and Ryan's who's upset about that? Ryan in the comments, furious that the Bombers won and we were talking about the Argos so much. The Bombers definitely looking at like one of the most dominant teams in the league right now. Really,
they're looking like a team that won the Grey Cup in 2019.
Yeah, and didn't skip a beat. The defense is formidable, and but what I will say, Ryan, how's this for a prediction? Right, you're coming into our house next. You're coming into the 6. The Bombers are coming into the 6 next week. We're gonna be there with us rooting them on. This is the most beautiful, best stadium in all of the CFL, BMO Field. All right, we're dragging your Bombers into deep waters, my friend. Deep waters. Just wait till they hit that end zone. All right, there's a surprise. All right. So.
Oh jeez. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna
be a good game.
But I mean, man. The Bombers are the last people I want to be facing 2 times in a row to start the season.
The only saving grace is they didn't see much of Arbuckle, and if he's starting, I mean, it's kind of new, I guess. But
I mean, Brad, I'm surprised you were okay with Arbuckle coming in. As a gambler, that was unanticipated, right?
It's not starting. He came in the middle of the third quarter. I mean, if they're coming out and saying McLeod Bethel Thompson starting all week, and then you come 5 minutes before the game, we're sitting in the bleachers, and Nick Arbuckle trots out there, I'll be fired up.
Yeah, so as a fan, also, yeah, you're playing to the home fan too. You're like Mike Riley comes out of nowhere, like the hero riding in, on a mountain lion. It's exciting, dude. It's exciting. This is part of the charm. All right, this is part of the charm, Brad. Not everything's about gambling. Okay, moving on. All right, the Alouettes. We talked about it last week. Will they have kind of the rust, not playing in week one, or will they be able to kind of take a step back, look at everybody, see the mistakes people are making, and make those adjustments based on looks? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
they did. 30-13 against the Elks. Brad, what was that game like?
Well, Edmonton is bad. They're very bad. They are good up until they hit the red zone. Can't do anything in the red zone. I mean, the announcers are talking about that last minute touchdown. That's a confident boost. Not really. I mean, Trevor Harris does not have any confidence right now. They get to that red zone and everything on that offense shuts down. But Montreal played outstanding. Vernon Adams Jr. Like the stats aren't going to show it because they're
Mm-hmm.
not eye popping. Watching him, he's looking like a MLP type player right
Mm-hmm.
there. The wide receiver core. When we talked to Geno Lewis, he talked about they were going to be good because everybody was coming back. You
Mm-hmm.
can see that chemistry's there
Mm-hmm.
with the guys. The defense very good. I mean, there's a lot of turnover on the defense compared to the offense. You had, I think, what was it four there was it was a lot of Edmonton starter like
Mm-hmm.
former Edmonton players starting on Montreal's defense, and they're gelling good. I think Montreal, they're going to be a force in the East. They look really
Mm-hmm.
good, and I think Edmonton. I mean, you start the season 0-2, both games at home, and the way they're looking, they got a tough rest of this season coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you talk to that cohesion, and you see the work that Vernon Adams and his receiver core have put in the offseason, making those moves to kind of keep working together, doing something
Yeah.
that really no one else has done, and it's showing. It's showing. They look like like they didn't look like this was their opener.
No.
And in a league where or in a season where it's taken 2 weeks for a lot of guys to get rolling and things are still not fully clicking into place, to see the Alouettes take that week off, take that step back, and then say, okay, jump in, just fully connected. It's scary, man. It's gonna be scary for the East, and in the West Coast. I mean, the West Coast has kind of there's a few teams that have flopped as well. So I mean, you could see. I mean, a couple weeks from now, it's still early to kind of. People are still making power rankings. I don't know how you can with the
Yeah.
Alouettes playing one game against the Elks and being able to figure out how that weighs against two game like a 1-1 record.
Hmm.
But I think the Alouettes might be riding pretty high or flying pretty high in a couple weeks.
No, I agree. It's gonna be, and then once these East teams they start getting their home games in, I mean, they're like everybody's gonna play better at home too. So
Yeah, and
it's gonna be looking
speaking
even better.
of, I mean, playing on the road right now, the Cats had another rough ride out against Saskatchewan, and they
Hmm.
lost what was that game 30-8. Brad,
Yeah, I
what's
mean,
going on with these Tie Cats
well, I mean, after week one, the tie catch. You want me to talk about them first?
or
They're
whatever?
not looking. No, I'll talk about Tire Cuts. Now, a lot of people are going to say, and then Dane Evans came in at the end. They're only going to say, should they switch to Dane Evans off from Masoli? And the Dane Evans took him to the Grey Cup in 2019. Should we make the quarterback switch? I would say no, because unless Dane Evans has eyes in the back of his head, he's going to be no better than Masoli. The quarterback is not the problem here. Could Masoli have played better? Yeah, he probably could have. But like, it's everybody around the offensive line collapsing. He's getting hit, had no time in the pocket. The defense, not great. Saskatchewan put up 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a league where everybody's getting slow at the game. I mean, Saskatchewan put up 30 2 weeks in a row,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not slouch on offense, but you got to be better. You just got to
Mm-hmm.
be better on,
Mm-hmm.
on defense. And Hamilton, I'll admit, a lot of people are picking them to win a Grey Cup. Most people, they were overwhelming favorites. There's an article somebody wrote saying that they might go undefeated this year. They're
Mm-hmm.
0-2, looking terrible. One touchdown scored in total, under 20 points on the season. Sorry, two touchdowns. They got two touchdowns on the
Mm-hmm.
season.
Yeah.
Like they're not looking good. They're not
Mm-hmm.
looking good at all. it's gonna be, it could be a long year, and with the East wide open as it is, shortened season, you gotta get wins on the board early. And I mean, Saskatchewan, they're looking good. The offense is looking the most potent out of every team in the league. I mean, they put up 30 points 2 weeks in a row.
Hmm.
Coming off week one with the second half where it was so slow, you were a little bit worried, but they went right off. Fajardo, looking like the MLP candidate that people thought he was going to be coming in this year, they look good.
Yeah, and I mean Cody in the pocket looked fantastic, and his ability to run. I think he ran for over 60 yards on top of
Yeah,
over like how much 222 passing yards. You know
and
that
it
is
felt
that's
like a
a
lot more.
and yeah, and it feels like a lot more when you score 30 points off that. So
Hmm.
I think in the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it's difficult when your first game is against the team that beat you in the Grey Cup last time around. They're raising the banner. The fans haven't seen the game in forever, and then you have to play that. You get off to a hot start. You get stopped, and then that falls apart, and then you can't even go home to kind of collect yourself after that, right? You have another game on the road against a difficult team, obviously from week one of the biggest, as you said, most potent offenses, and then in your head we're not getting a home game until week 5. I mean that
Yeah,
schedule seems a little bit ridiculous to me, especially. I mean, it's just a shame for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. To not have that home field advantage in a year where home field advantage probably has not mattered more. With
yeah,
the like just how these fans have been bottled up and shaken like fireflies all year,
yeah,
and they just let loose.
yeah,
I think the Hamilton's really got to just survive the next few weeks. Pick a few things, the key things to work on, and say, you know what, week 5 is when it all clicks and comes back together.
yeah. You got to get there with. They got to put a couple wins on the board before they come home too. You can't go back with any more than 4 losses, especially with teams like Montreal might run away with the division by week 5 if they don't put a few wins on the board.
Hmm.
And as I mean, we're Argos season ticket holders, so we're probably gonna be Argos stands this year. And I love seeing Hamilton play bad because Toronto's gonna play them 4 times this year. Looking at that schedule at the start of the year with how good Hamilton was supposed to be, that was a little bit scary. Now we're not looking so bad, but I might be eating my words in a few weeks, and I'm sure Ryan will come back 3 weeks later and tell me all
Yeah,
about it.
but I mean, Ryan is like, yeah, finally these guys are hating on the Ticats because we've
Yeah,
been we
I
going
mean,
hard in
Ryan,
the
who's your
paint.
favorite team? Who's your favorite
I'm
team,
pretty
Ryan?
sure it's the Bombers, or maybe
Yeah,
it's just like
just a
he just
fan of the
likes the
Shield.
West. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
fan of the West.
yeah.
Those East Coast guys. If
Uh,
if anybody's wondering, there's probably Ryan, comment below so that people can find your channel. Funny stuff.
yeah. If this is the only video he doesn't comment on, we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, but check out Ryan's channel. He'll be in the comments. We know.
Mhm.
He's like super funny. And huge fan. Not of us, of the CFL. All right, now
Yeah,
moving on into the end. All right, week 3. We're looking ahead. All right. So let's put out some of the odds. So Edmonton Elks are taking
yeah. I
on.
mean, yeah. At the top, we're not all about gambling. How we end the show with the gambling? What
Yeah,
people are
well,
coming for?
well, this was your thing, so whatever. I'm giving here. All right, so now like these odds, I mean, they mean nothing because who knows? Like, who knows who's gonna start, dude?
Hmm. Okay, so give me the first
Edmonton
game.
Elks, BC Lions, point spread. They got the BC Lions -4. Uh, what are you thinking, Brad?
Take BC -4. Edmonton's looking terrible until they prove you wrong. You got to go with BC here. What's the over under on that?
The over under is going to be 41.5.
I mean, I think you got to take the over here, and I say the over because BC's going to put points on the board,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as you like 41, you said 41. That's so low. You got to
Yeah,
trust that
yeah,
Edmonton's going to break out at some point to a little degree and put a few points on the board. I mean, you got to take the
yeah.
over there.
Well, I mean the Lions defense has been so good, and I
Hmm.
mean as we said, I mean, the Elks have just not been good at all in the red zone. That point
Hmm.
spread is looking very tight. Four
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I think you take BC, but I think you almost have to take the over there. 41 in a football game
Hmm.
coming in the week, you got it. I mean, BC might put 30 themselves, so trust Edmonton just to get 11. Yeah, I think that's doable.
And I mean, Lions are at home too, so
Yeah.
um, yeah. Okay, now next one: Montreal Alouettes and the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary Stampeders are -3 on the point
I
spread.
mean, this line I think is going to change now that if Bo Levi actually is hurt and they
Hmm.
don't lie about it. I think I would take the Alouettes here. Obviously, they're +3, hammer that.
Hmm.
But I would take the Alouettes up to
But
-4 here.
but Brad, if you're a gambler, right, and we're gonna rehash this, right, and you have the inside baseball, right,
Hmm.
that Bo Levi's hurt.
Hmm.
Would you not like if you said in your mind, I'm pretty confident that he's hurt, wouldn't you want the Stampeders to kind of keep that under wraps? Wouldn't that help you?
Yeah, but if I'm a guy that's like, you know what, Bo Levi, like I don't realize he's hurt. I'm gonna absolutely hammer the Stampeders because Bo Levi's not having 3 bad games in a row. Let's go. Like we're hammering them, and then all of a sudden, Michael O'Connor trots out there.
Yeah, I mean, but wouldn't you put research into something before you put money on it?
How are you supposed to find? Like, I mean, if they don't announce it,
I got an
if they didn't,
article. I found two
no,
articles
no,
10
but
minutes
that's my
ago.
point. So it's out there. But if they come out and say no, he's healthy, he's playing, and then he's not, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're supposed to have the how are you supposed to get the inside baseball if you're just a casual fan?
I mean, like, I was using casual inside baseball, right? Is an article. He's hurt. He looked bad. All right. He's either gonna
Yeah,
be on the. He's clearly hurt. He's either gonna be on the bench being hurt or he's on the field hurt. Either way, it's the same thing.
yeah, but
Wouldn't you
not all
not want
injuries
the
are this.
official
But
announcement that's gonna tilt the odds
not
like that?
not all injuries are the same. So I can sit here and be like, yeah, oh yeah, I think he's hurt. He's got a little stinger by the game's Friday, right? By Friday, he's absolutely fine, and he tears it up. Okay, I'm wrong here because they said he's hurt, now he's not. Like it's clarity and transparency is required. And again, not unusual ask. The NFL does it every single week.
Yeah.
Give me
All
the
right.
next game. Actually, give me
Um,
the over under on that. I didn't say
the
that.
over under. So that would be 45.5. They're all low this week. They're all low.
You know what? Take the over.
Yeah.
I'm taking the unders have all been hitting. They're
Hmm.
lowering the numbers. The offenses are gonna break out at some point. Actually, Bo Levi is like for sure out. Take the under, but if there's even a chance that he plays, take the over.
Yeah. All right. So the Blue Bombers, as we said, are coming into Toronto, and
Mhm.
Blue Bombers are -6.5 at 40 point and a half over under and
40. What's
40 and
the
a
over
half.
under?
40 and a
40 and a
half.
half.
I almost tripped up reading that because that seems kind of crazy.
Take the over. Take the over at 40 and a half. If I'm giving what I'm going to take as an Argos fan in the stands, I'm taking the Argos at +6.5. If I'm a smart better, take Winnipeg 6.5. I mean, they just beat them last week, and it was clear, like clear domination. And if we're being honest, Nick Arbuckle like didn't tear it up when he came in. So if you like the smart pick is that, but I'm gonna have to roll with the Argos. Like I'm just gonna have to. But the smart pick would be Winnipeg.
All right. Well, I mean, 6.5. There's some shade being thrown at the Argonauts right now, I think. But anyways,
Yeah,
Red
yeah.
Blacks taking on the Rough Riders. This one's gonna be so the Rough Riders are -10.5, and the over under is 44.5 on that.
Take the over and take the Rough Riders because the Rough Riders might put 50 up. Like Ottawa's defense played good in week 1. I'm not taking anything away from them, but Matt Nichols can't throw the ball. He's hurt. Put up like 70 yards
Mm-hmm.
passing in their win. They're not They might scrape a few points, but they're not going to do any. Take the Rough Riders. They have an absolutely potent offense. They might hit the over themselves against Ottawa, and they're going to crush them. I'm sorry, Matt Nichols. I love you, but this is just what's going to happen.
Well, I mean,
and if I come back and eat my words next week, I do, but that's just like that's going to happen.
I mean,
especially in Saskatchewan too.
That's what that's what a lot of people did week 1. Proved them wrong. Just saying. 10 and a half. 10 and a half. Do you not believe in miracles, Brad? They can get within 10 and a half.
If it's at 10 and a half, I might buy the line down to 10. But I'd take Rough Riders for sure. Do not and if you're not comfortable with the 10 and a half, just don't bet it. Don't take the Red Blacks.
Yeah, I mean that 10 and a half is crazy to me. That's I'm not a gambler, but you're betting on garbage time at that point.
No, 10 and a half. 10 and a half. This is a very football number. 10 field goal and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because that's what minus 300 to win, minus 350.
That would be
maybe a bit more. I could be wrong there.
Oh man, this website is not arranged. So the Red Blacks are plus 349. Rough Riders are minus 443.
Yeah,
numbers were a little bit tough today.
Yeah, 443 is a weird number for a betting site to put up.
Yeah. So, and this is a weird betting site.
Yeah.
If you watch the CFL, you know what I'm talking about, but we're not giving free ads.
Because they have the longest ads in the world. I would not use the site simply because I don't need your 1 minute long ad 17 times during a game, especially when I watch all 4 games of the week and I get the ad 500 times.
But thank you for putting up the CFL odds very early for us.
Yes. All right. That's all I got on the week's games. I think we went a little longer than expected in this video.
31 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And the gambling took up probably 10 of it, but that's okay. If you're tuning into this, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say that you're probably interested in that angle. Let me know in the comments if you're not and you want me to shut the hell up about it. The gambling angle.
Oh, the gambling angle. Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? I was gonna say, we clearly there's like 2 theses battling it out right now in this show. There was an underlying theme of this whole thing that was going through, swimming around, and I was gonna say leave an opinion down in the comments, but knowing the CFL fans, they already have done that, so. So it'll be interesting to see the comments, see who people agree with, what people are thinking. But yeah, so that's everything. Brad, tell the people what they got to do now.
Yeah, I mean, if you like this video, comment, subscribe. We're posting these every week. We got some CFL interviews with some of the stars of the league, if we're being honest here. Willie Jefferson, Matt Nichols might not be a star just yet, but he has been. Jagarrett Davis, Geno Lewis, Jameer Thurman. What else more do you want from us? And check out the card videos. Leave a comment. Enter the giveaway. Giveaway at 250 subscribers. Giveaway at 350 subscribers. Free to enter. People keep saying they don't want to pay anything. We're not asking you to. It's free to enter. Just go comment on the videos. We're giving it away soon. We'll see you next week.
See ya.